Hey everybody, John Reap here. You're about to watch and or listen to episode 32 of Country-ish. And we got a very intimate show today. It's going to be a little wonky. I'm not feeling that great. So I'm going to lean heavily on my comedian friends and celebrity friends. We got some great interviews lined up for you. Dusty Slay, very funny comedian, zooms in. We talk about dad stories, 4th of July, Charlie Daniels, and the lead singer of Stryper. Remember them? To Hell with the Devil. Michael Sweet zooms in. You're going to love it. Let's get it.
Just a country boy, and he's making it good. He was y'all's underdog, dressed in beer rolls, living next to the wood. He liked to eat the sushi, but he don't even fish. Not so much a country boy, it's more like he's country-ish. Moved out of Hickory and headed for Southern Cal. Wound up in TV and film, making popsicle proud. Now this country boy is back with his family. Got himself a podcast, he knows it'll last, cause he's in Hickory.
Yes, that's right. I am in Hickory, and I'm happy about it. Hope you're happy. Hope you're safe and healthy. I'm a little wonky today. Not sure what's going on. I'm not the healthiest I've ever been. My voice is hurting. We're going to get into all this later, but just want you to know this is going to be a great episode of the Country-ish podcast. I've got Dusty Slay, comedian, zooming in, very funny dude, and Michael Sweet of Stryper. Remember that band? They're going to be a part of this show. We're not doing many segments. We're just going to do that because it's just me in here because I think I might have the COVID. I don't know. I got tested, and I'm going to find out. But I wanted to be safe, so it's just me in here. The Alan Jackson is behind glass in a very protected, sealed booth back there, and he's fine. But both of us are not feeling great. I had a high temperature the other day of like 100.8. My muscles were killing me. I had a bad headache. My 4th of July got ruined because I was supposed to be on a pontoon boat in Lake Hickory with all my friends, but instead I was nursing this fever, and I had to go get tested. So that was my 4th. My 4th was me in my room by myself, curled up in the fetal position, trying to get over this temperature. But I feel okay now. But I've gotten tested, still waiting for results. No strep throat, don't know about COVID yet, but it could happen. Anyway, show must go on, and that's what we're doing. So we had my friends zooming in, and let's enjoy this right now, this awesome interview with my buddy Dusty Slay. Dusty Slay, buddy.
All right.
All right. It's so much fun to sound like you, brother.
Yeah, I love a good all right. Sometimes I do it and I hear it and I go, is that a pleasant sound? I don't know. But a good all right is fun.
I think it's soothing. You have a very soothing, calm, relaxed way about you. And even the greeting is like, it's all right. It's not aggressive. You're not spreading germs this way. You're at a distance. I saw you post something about this as a perfect social distance.
Coronavirus video about the wave. A lot of my family thought it was real. My family had messaged me. They were like, congratulations on getting on global news. And I was like, because it was a good looking video.
That's right.
And
you basically did a fake news story.
Yeah, and my family was like, a lot of them were like, wow, you made it to Glow. And people were like, finally, the break you've been looking for. And I'm like, man, we did too good of a job. This looks good.
Yeah. How was your 4th, though? What did you do?
It was great. My dad came to town.
Yeah.
And he stayed for a couple of days. And he left on the 4th pretty early. He was supposed to stay through the night. And he left pretty early. I don't think he was upset, but he doesn't leave home a lot. I think he was just ready to get home.
Yeah.
And it was good. And then we cooked out. And then my neighborhood this is my first 4th of July living in this neighborhood, and they canceled all fireworks displays.
Right. I heard about
So
that.
my neighborhood just was lit up like the best fireworks show I've ever seen in my life.
That's awesome.
I went out and sat in the cul-de-sac and just watched it from all directions. Just professional fireworks. It was amazing. I loved it.
Well, you mean amateur fireworks, right? Like everybody, like in the neighborhood.
Well, kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, it felt like everybody bought the professional fireworks. I mean, It was huge explosions. I mean, it was amazing.
Fireworks must be getting easier to get, and even the ones that are borderline illegal must be easier to get than what they were when we were kids or when I was a kid. I had to go from North Carolina to South Carolina to get fireworks at all. I'm not even a sparkler. But now they've got these generic ones that are like borderline legal that they'll sell to grocery store. And those aren't the good ones. But if that's happening, then the illegal ones, they got to be getting better too. And I think that's what's happened. I mean, I guess. Because I saw a lot of videos on Facebook and it looked like I saw someone did from a plane going over Los Angeles or California.
Oh, yeah, it was amazing.
You've seen that one, right?
Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, growing up, all I would get, our fireworks was a lack of money. I mean, we would go to a huge fireworks stand, and I would get a lot of bottle rockets and a lot of black cats.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I'd get some snakes, and every once in a while I'd get a Roman candle or two.
Yeah.
But I would take the black cats and I would take them apart and light one at a time so it would last. Because, they're on that strip. I mean, the first time I saw somebody light them all at once, I was like, man, they got some money. You know what I mean?
You're wasting it. Right.
Yeah. I used to just go around. I had one. I'd put one. I'd try to blow up stuff. You know?
I do. That's so funny because I'm having a very similar memory of something like that because you would light one firework, a firecracker.
Yeah, firecracker.
Not an M8. I mean, M80s I think were even more powerful. I'm talking about the cheapest little firecracker that you could get. You would light it and throw it and go, pop!
Yeah.
And that was it. And it was all I needed. And I was happy with that. And then I remember seeing some dad from our neighborhood had like a string of them, like what you were saying.
Oh, yeah.
And it looked like one of those ammunition bullet magazine holders that you'd see a soldier wear across his...
Like Rambo.
Yeah. And he took that thing... Yeah. He took that thing and put it over like a basketball goal and just lit it. And it just went... And that was the coolest thing I've ever seen. But at the same time, I was thinking what you just thought, well, it's going to be over now. He has no more firecrackers.
Yeah. I wish I had that kind of money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's
great. I mean, it's like that's true. I mean, we would always get some fireworks, but it was bottle rockets were the big thing for us.
Yeah, bottle rockets are great. Roman candles were always kind of cool, even though they didn't explode. It was sort of the anticipation of what's the next one coming, when's the next one? Because it'd go, poof, and you'd be like, okay, there's another one in there. Poof, right? Like, I like that. You don't know exactly when it's over.
Yeah.
And of course, you could hold those like weapons and point them at people, and it wouldn't even hurt if you got hit by one. Did you ever have firework wars with your buddies?
Yeah, we used to shoot bottle rockets at each other.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, I think I've become so afraid because I'm like away from that. When I was like a rough little kid, none of this stuff bothered me. We used to shoot fireworks at each other all the time. But the other day, I'm like, dang, I don't want to get hit by a firework out here. I'm not trying to lose an eye.
Yeah, no. I
mean, become more aware of pain and
right.
And what it's like to live without things.
Yeah, I was actually, because I was sick and I was depressed. I was supposed to be on the lake. And I'm also, I guess I'm getting old crotchety. I'm like 48. I'm getting angry, I guess. But my brother's daughter said, hey, can we come over and use the swimming pool for the 4th? And we're like, well, of course. We're not going to be out there because we're all sick in the house. But I remember like getting up to use the bathroom at one, I feel like crap. And I hear fireworks going off. And I look out the window and I see my niece and all these other young kids out there splashing around, eating hot dogs, having a good time. And I was just like old man McGillicuddy behind the shades, like, stupid kids don't even,
Oh, yeah.
I felt bad, but I got angry at the fireworks. I remember thinking like, gosh, I'm trying to sleep.
I know. Well, this is what I did. July 3rd, there was some fireworks in the neighborhood. I thought, well, that's pretty cool. July 4th was a great show. July 5th, I was like, all right, that's enough of this bullshit. Like, what's going on out here?
Right.
Like, Hannah, my wife, was really like, you got to chill out. Why are you so cranky? I was like, what? This is day. And you know what? The whole quarantine, I've been putting up birdhouses. I got bird feeders. I had some doves living in my front tree.
Wow.
That I haven't seen since the fireworks. And I had birds housing and nesting all around my place here.
Yeah.
And the fireworks scared them off.
Yeah, I think on the 3rd it's acceptable. 4th, definitely. 5th, I'm going to give you a little bit of leeway, but if it's the 6th,
oh yeah,
definitely you're an a-hole.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not just that, but I'm thinking also it's like, well, you didn't plan accordingly. You have to wait another year now, man. Hopefully that firework will work for you a year from now, but you can't do that on the 6th and the 7th.
But I also imagine as a kid, I was the kid who was hanging on. I love to hang on to stuff because I'm like, I want to really like if I got like 2 cookies, I'm going to eat them real slow. If I have a whole pack, I'll crush them. But if I got 2, I just nibble them a bit, so they last a while.
That's right. When is your next gig? Do you know when it is?
Well, I'm supposed to go to a drive-in show outside of Seattle, Washington in July 17th.
Okay.
July 16th.
I just did one of those with Bert Kreischer.
Oh, yeah?
Is that who you're doing it with, or is it?
No, I mean, it's like a local country band in Washington, and I'm just opening for them.
Nice.
But it's a decent paying gig, and so I'm like, yeah, I'll do it.
Bert's doing them.
Yeah.
And so he happened to be doing one right outside of Charlotte.
Okay.
And when I did his podcast, I was like, well, that's my backyard. If you want me to come pop in for you need me in any capacity, let me know. I'll be there. He said, well, sure. And I just did a 7-minute set.
Yeah.
It was weird. It was cool. It's different, but it's fine.
Yeah.
I've done way, way crazier gigs. But the setup was neat. They had the stage off to the left of the big screen. So if you were kind of close, you could just look at the stage and hear the sound coming from the stage. Like they built a stage. And then they projected that image onto the big screen for people who were way in the back. But, outdoors and comedy, always tough for me. I like people hanging on every word. And, there were some people sitting in chairs. Them being in their cars is a little odd. The sound was a little bit of an issue because I think they were still figuring it out as each comedian went up there. Like the guy before me, the very first guy I felt bad for, and he's a very funny guy named Jesus Trejo. Very funny dude. He's doing great. And so, but he was the first one. It was still kind of daylight outside. The audio wasn't, his mic wasn't working at first. And then on the big screen behind him, they were showing like a movie trailer to the Fast and Furious 6. And so he was like, okay, that's they haven't seen that one. All right. He's kind of like the Latino Dusty Slay.
Yeah.
But it was odd for sure, but by the time Bert got up there, they had it all figured out, and it was great. And I walked up there within, 5 seconds, someone yelled out, that thing got a Hemi. So, they're in their cars out there. So.
Right.
So that was fun for me. But it was a quick little 7-minute set. That's cool. Are you looking forward to doing that gig?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm mainly doing that gig for the money because I mean, I'm like you. I mean, I like a club, But I'm like, yeah, I'll take a gig. I mean, not just the money, but also just the stage time. I mean, it's as much as I think the break did good for me, I don't want to just keep taking breaks.
Yeah.
I don't even know that I want to go back to traveling every weekend again. I loved it, but now that I sat at home for a bit, I'm like, this is actually pretty fun too.
Yeah. I
mean, I
agree.
need to make money, but it's pretty fun to sit at home.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I got I got a check, like everybody else,
Yeah.
and I'm sitting on some money anyway. So I wasn't like I needed to go out. I liked being around my mom and dad, trying to take care of them.
Yeah.
And this podcast gave me something else to do, and I just put all my energies into this. And now I'm like, wow, if I don't have to go out that often, and I can just somehow make that same money doing this, this is going to be a victory. And I'm thinking like, oh, I'm putting the work in now, like I did when I started stand up.
Well, that's what I'm saying too. Is it's like, I mean, I've heard rumors that they may be banning TikTok, but which is a shame because
I've heard that. What's going on, dude? What's the latest? Because I heard something vaguely about it. Something to do with China or Russia?
Well, I feel like that it's a China-owned app,
Okay.
and they say that they may be stealing all of our information while we're using the app. And so I don't want that to happen,
No, of course.
obviously. But I have the most amount of followers I have on any social media aside from TikTok is Instagram. I have a little over 15,000 followers, right? Which is great for me. I'm very excited. But TikTok, I have 122,000 followers.
That's
right?
insane.
So of course China's spying on us with the one I'm successful with.
Yeah, dude. I remember. I think was I'm not sure if I got on there right at the same time as you did, but I started duetting people.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's what helped my numbers. Like, because I got on there as a joke. Like, I'm like, someone told me like, hey man, just, you're trapped at home. I know you used to be the Hickory dance machine. Why don't you make some dance videos? I'm like,
oh yeah,
whatever, I'll do something. And me being bored at home with my mother kind of got me on there. And I started getting excited when the numbers went up.
I know.
Like that, what kind of algorithm is this?
Well, that's what happened to me too. A guy texted me and he said, you should start posting your stand-up videos on TikTok. He said, I've done this and it's been working great for me. And so I had like, almost like 2 hours worth of video footage that I had filmed. Some stuff is overlapping, but good quality. Mm-hmm. And so I just started cutting it up into 1 minute clips and it just started like exploding. And I was like, whoa. And now I'm like dying to put out more. Like,
yeah.
But I'm also like, I don't want to eat up all my new jokes, but I'm, I don't know. I'm trying to push them all to Instagram before it gets deleted.
Yeah. When you record your sets, how are you recording it? What device are you using?
Well, I just recently bought a camera. I bought a good camera. Mm-hmm. I spent a little money on it. And then I think it's a Canon, maybe it's a Sony. I don't know. I could show it to you, but it's just one of those like cameras that looks like you're taking a picture, but it only films a half hour at a time and you have to have somebody re-hit the button. But
got it.
And then I also just ordered a Rode wireless lapel.
Ooh.
So I can plug it into the camera and then clip it here.
Yep.
And then there's no wire. And then it records my audio right into the camera.
Well, I'm asking because it looks really good, whatever you're doing. Like even, most stand-ups, when they record their set, it's a wide shot.
Yeah.
But I've noticed some of yours are close-ups. Is there someone zooming in for you or those?
Well, it's a really high quality. And one of them, somebody was zooming in for me. But another one, what I do is I use Final Cut Pro, and then I just cut it in that little thin box and then zoom it in.
Okay. So
if it's a high quality, it doesn't mess up the...
Okay. All right. So you've got some editing skills.
Oh, I've been working it. That's what I learned during quarantine is some editing stuff.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's smart. Sweet, dude. I like your
I learned
setup.
about editing and CBD. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I've heard of that.
Yeah. That's what I learned about.
I'm loving the setup. We've got, this is a good little, like a corner sort of thing you've made. You got the map in the background. Looks like a card from a Tonight Show set, maybe.
Yeah.
That's
I got
awesome.
a Steve Martin thing back here. Yeah, I just started pulling. My buddy Evan came over and he was like, let me help you get this setup going. He's like, just show me stuff that you have around here. And I just started pulling out comedy memorabilia, and he just helped me arrange it.
Looks awesome.
I mean, I got back there. I got some awards from winning best local comic in Charleston, and and it's exciting. It's very fun.
Real quick, I know you posted a picture of you and Charlie Daniels together, and he just passed away, unfortunately. What was it like meeting Charlie Daniels?
Well, it's funny. I think you know this guy named Travis Wolf that was at APA. Was it APA?
Yes, I know him.
And he took me to, he was my agent at the time. And neither of us are with APA now, but he took me, he was Charlie Daniels' agent.
Wow.
So he took me to meet him at the Grand Ole Opry. And I thought that Travis knew Charlie really well. So Charlie invited, he was so nice. He invited us into the green room and we were just sitting there. And I was kind of like, I could tell this guy a million songs of his that I love. But I'm like, this man is 80 years old. Mm-hmm. I'm in my 30s. What really do I have to talk to Charlie Daniels about? What compliment could I bring him that he hasn't heard? What insight do I have that he hasn't heard? So I just was a respectful person and just kind of hung out and listened to him talk. And Travis talked to him and I listened to them talk. And then after, Travis was like, man, you really left me hanging in there. He's like, you weren't talking. He's like, you really left me hanging. I was like, I thought you guys were buddies. And he's like, oh, no, I don't know him that well. I mean, I'm his agent, but, and I guess he made a joke with him about a road manager. And he was like, I guess the road manager hurt his knee or something. And Travis was like, I just told him to rub some dirt on it. And then Charlie Daniels was like, yeah, he's really hurt. He was really hurt. I think it really hurt him. And it was a weird moment.
Oh, gosh.
But he was so nice, and I got to see him play The Devil Went Down to Georgia live at the Grand Ole Opry.
Wow.
From behind him.
Yeah.
Which I feel like probably not many people get to see the behind Charlie Daniels.
That's awesome. I'm loving this agent story, though, because that is a typical agent sort of move. There are good agents out there. No offense. Obviously, there are good ones. Mine are great. Yours are probably great. But there's the ones who just fake it a lot, and that's like a typical sort of move. Well, you go in expecting, this is the connection. It's his agent. They obviously know each other.
Well, Travis is great.
Right.
I love him.
I agree, but I'm just laughing at because I know agents like this.
But it's so funny because I guess Travis, I mean, just knowing me as a comedian, being a person that talks, but I'm still like growing up like in the South. I don't know if that's it or what it is, but I'm still intimidated by older men, like older Southern men. Mm-hmm. Like I just feel like I gotta be in my place. Yeah. Right. Like I don't run in on an 80-year-old man and just start talking his head off.
Yeah. What's up, Chief?
Yeah, exactly. I'm just like, yes, sir. No, sir. Happy to meet you. I've always been a fan. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's great, man. I've never got to see him perform. I know he's got a place. He had maybe a museum or something or shop in Nashville. Charlie Daniels
Well, Mount Juliet is kind of like Charlie Daniels' town. Like that's where he lived, and that's right outside of Nashville. They have like Charlie Daniels Park and stuff like that. And I was supposed to later this year, and I don't know, it may still happen, but I was going to perform at the Charlie Daniels Volunteer Jam, as they call it. Yeah. And it's a big concert they do here in Nashville. And I was on it. I don't know that it's off. They may still do it in his honor. But, I just was hoping to get to meet him again and get to hang out and maybe ask some of the questions that I wish that I would have asked.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what I would have asked. I probably would have said I loved him in Urban Cowboy. Yeah. And I discovered later in life that he also did the theme song to Stroker Ace with Burt Reynolds.
Oh, man, that's such a good song. Stroker Ace was born to race, had a mean street of 10 foot wide. Oh, son of a gun with a taste for fun and more his share of pride. Oh, I love it, man. I love Charlie Daniels.
Yeah, I was listening. I was like, wow, it's almost very similar to another song he did, but I get it. It's like we want that sound, so why not just hire that guy and make it a new song? So it was awesome. And also, like he's from Wilmington, North Carolina,
Okay, I didn't know that.
well, born there, but then of course
Yeah.
went to Kentucky and I think in Nashville. I would have asked him about Urban Cowboy a little bit because that's a movie I didn't watch until only maybe a year, 6 months ago. I remember thinking, well, John Travolta's a cowboy. No way. I'm not in. I can't buy this. I'm not going to watch it. And then I watched it not long ago for the podcast. We reviewed like these country-ish kind of movies. And, oh my God, it's so funny. It's not supposed to be.
I watched a little bit of it, I watched it as a kid, but I watched a little bit of it recently. I remember thinking it was great, but I also loved John Travolta at the time. I own it, but I haven't watched it again yet.
Yeah.
I got Deborah Winger is the girl in that, and I like her in An Officer and a Gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
That may be one of my all-time favorite movies. I had no idea. I just watched it, like you say, probably 6 months ago, and it blew me away. I love that movie.
I need to watch that again. That's one that's on my list to check out, possibly for the podcast.
It blew me away. If you watch it and review it for the podcast, I'd love to come on and just weigh in.
What's your favorite parts? Just some highlights. Is it the when he was going through boot camp? Was it the romance part of it? Was it Richard Gere? Was it Deborah Winger? Was it Lou Gossett Jr.?
It seems like such a cop-out of an answer to say, but it really is just the entire thing. You see his entire journey, like his own battles, trying to live up to his dad's expectations, and then now learning from Lou Gossett Jr., the man that he just wanted to challenge the entire time. You see the breaking point with him.
Yeah.
You see how he's just this guy out here that doesn't want to get involved in a relationship. But then all of this it becomes so real to him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the greatest ending to a movie. Now, is it cheesy? Sure. The ending is a bit cheesy.
Right.
But it is the best ending there is.
It's iconic, and it's, for its time, it probably wasn't cheesy. That was, hadn't been done, I don't think. But I've also heard that, like, anytime, I forgot where I heard this, like, you can tell when someone doesn't actually drive a motorcycle often, and they put them in a movie where they have to be on a motorcycle, it's obvious that they don't know what they're doing sometimes.
Oh, okay.
When they roll up at a stoplight and they put their feet out before the bike stops. They're bracing themselves. Oh,
yes, yeah.
So,
well, I don't ride a motorcycle, so I would never
you
catch
wouldn't
it.
have, yeah, I wouldn't have either. But then someone put it in my head, and now I cannot not see it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I may have just ruined that movie for you.
Oh, no. Nothing can ruin it. My wife tried to ruin it, too, because she loves to IMDb movies and found out that Deborah Winger actually hates that movie. And she's nude in the movie at one point, and she said she didn't want to be nude, and then it was just a big thing, and she hates the movie. And I'm like, that almost ruined it for me. But I'm like, you know what? It's still a good movie. I hate that happened.
Yeah. Hell, I didn't know she was nude in that.
I think she just shows like a bit of boob.
Well, now I have to watch it.
Yeah, and I think there's another girl in there who shows a bit of boob too.
Oh, so. Yeah, I like old school.
And I like movies like that, boobs and stuff. It's too accessible now with the internet.
Yeah,
but it's still nice when you're watching a classic movie. You
forget that.
Yeah, you get a little boob shot. And you're like, oh, that used to be fun.
Boob that you forgot about.
Yeah,
that's great.
I mean, when we were kids, you couldn't. It was a struggle to find a boob.
Yeah,
now I can find all the boobs I want.
Yeah, it's
not
easy.
as fun.
No. But like you said, when it's an accidental, a boob out of place, even in real life, a boob out of place is great. Like, and this might.
When I lived in Charleston, I used to live in this building, and then there was a little alleyway, and then there was another building right up next to it. Our windows were like this. I had no blinds, no curtains, and my window was giant.
Oh.
I came home one night from an open mic. I'm in my living room. I look out the window, and in the apartment building next to me is a woman standing in her kitchen completely topless. And I've seen lots and lots of boobs, right? And I'm not even trying to brag about it. But when you just see it like that, it's like you're seeing a boob in the wild.
Right.
It like is pretty fun, you know?
Yes, it does make you want to like tiptoe around as not to disturb it and scare it off.
Yeah, you're just observing it, you know? And
awesome.
I mean, and also this person has to know that there's a building just right across the way,
Right.
and that none of these windows have blinds in it.
Yeah,
She
you
knows.
would think. She knows. Anyway, that's great. I want to go check out Officer and a Gentleman.
Yeah.
Also, I was going to say with Charlie Daniels, I like the everyone knows Devil Went Down to Georgia.
Yes.
I also like Long-Haired Country Boy.
That may be my most favorite country song ever.
Oh, really?
Long-haired country boy. Yeah.
Yeah. Not just of his, but of anybody.
Just anybody. I think it's a really great country song.
Yes.
Especially when I used to get drunk a lot. I loved, people say I'm no good, crazy as a loon because I get stoned in the morning, get drunk in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I love
those lyrics, that guy could write some good lyrics. Like, I don't ask nobody for nothing that I can't get on my own. Like, I love the way it sounds.
If you don't like the way I'm living, just leave this long-haired country boy alone.
I feel Dusty. I really feel like you should come out to that song sometimes.
I should.
I mean,
I love, he has a line about preachers. He said, Jesus walked on water, and I know that is true, but sometimes I think that preacher man would like to do a little walking too. And I was like, that's such a good line. I mean, and then at the end of the third verse, he says, poor girl wants to marry, rich girl wants to flirt, rich man goes to college, poor man goes to work. Drunkard wants another drink of wine, and a politician wants to vote. I don't want much of nothing at all, but I will take another toke. And I'm just like, dang, Charlie Daniels.
Yeah, all right.
I didn't even know what a toke was at that time.
Right.
I had to ask somebody what a toke was the first time I heard that song.
It's like Tab and Coke. It's a weird new diet Coke. It's a toke. I don't know how much more time you've got left.
Can I tell you a couple of my favorite Charlie Daniels before?
Please.
A couple more. There's a song called Trudy, Trudy. Amazing storytelling song. There is Stroker Ace was really good. There is a song called Reflections, where he kind of reflects on the death of Elvis, the death of Janis Joplin, and the death of Ronnie Van Zant with Leonard Skinner. Really great song. There's Simple Man is a really good one. And I feel maybe that's all the ones that we touched on. But
did a lot of people cover Simple Man?
Well,
is it his song?
You have Simple Man by Leonard Skinner.
Okay.
But you have Simple Man by Charlie Daniels, which is completely different.
That's what I'm thinking then. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, Simple Man by Leonard Skinner is probably one of the greatest songs of all time. I mean, It's so good.
Yeah.
But Simple Man by Charlie Daniels has got a bit of a different vibe. But
I'll have to check it out. I'm not really. Yeah. It doesn't come to my head right now when I'm thinking of it because the other one, Leonard Skinner's version comes up.
Yeah. You'll love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll send you some other Charlie Daniels stuff.
Okay. Well, one thing we do on the podcast, I'm doing this with other comedians at Zoomin, is I want to be known as the dad comedian. That's going to be my new goal.
Okay.
I got a lot of great dad stories in my act over the years. I love talking about my dad, and I want to get other comedians to talk about their dad. You got any classic dad stories?
Well, I was thinking about that a little bit, and I mean, and when you're talking to John Reap about dad stories, I mean, it's like, who has anything that adds up? I mean, I got nothing in compared to you, but I mean, you have the greatest dad stories of all time. My dad growing up, I mean, he's the type of guy, I mean, he would chew. He always chewed tobacco. And me and my stepbrothers would sit in the back of the truck, and we would set up on the toolbox, and he would spit out the window, and he would always get in somebody's hair. I mean, that's the kind of guy that my dad is. I mean, my dad's been married several times, and he met his fourth wife and current wife in Panama City Beach, and I was there. I was 14. And we were I remember my dad meeting her in the lobby.
Oh.
He found out that her room was going to be next to his. And he said, now listen, I'm going to be staying in a room right next to you. So don't be too loud. Don't be making a lot of racket because I'll be in the room right next to yours. And then a little bit later that night, she came and knocked on the door and asked him, do you want to go for a walk?
What?
Yeah. And then they've been married for 20 years.
That is awesome. Wait,
Yeah,
so your stepmother, I guess, basically hit on your dad. I mean, he hit on her first in a nonchalant, sort of sweet way.
Yeah.
You know, a little flirtation.
Yeah.
Don't be making any noise. But she made the first move.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
But this is the story I'd like to tell. I know those are two stories, but
No, that's fine. But now I'm curious. Is your dad was he a good looking dude?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, this is what my dad likes to do. My dad likes to, in my room at his house, which is barely my room anymore, but he still kind of keeps some of the stuff. He has all my pictures from kindergarten through 12th grade hanging on the wall. And then he took the wallet-sized photo of himself and stuck inside the frame of his kindergarten through 12th grade.
Oh, nice.
And I mean, I hate to admit it, but there was a point, like when we're little kids, we look just alike.
Yep.
And there was a point where my dad's good looks really take quite a leap past mine. And it's a bit embarrassing because my dad looks 30 when he graduated high school, you know, and I barely look my age now, you know.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, he did pretty well, I think. I mean, he never could, you know, keep it going very long, but he did pretty well with women.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, my dad was good looking too. He looked like Robert Redford. A lot of people used to tell him that. And real quick, and then it's your turn. I promise.
Yeah, no, I love this.
You know Shoney's restaurant?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, everyone in the rest of the country might not know what a Shoney's is, but it's basically like a Bob's Big Boy. It's a family-style sort of restaurant or whatever. We used to go to Shoney's.
Have a great breakfast buffet.
Yes. Every Sunday after church, we would all go to Shoney's and do the breakfast buffet, and I loved it. We're standing in line. My dad has been called Robert Redford for the last 3 years of his life or something. This old lady walks up to him and she's like probably 80 and she's nudging him. She goes, you know who you look like. And he just, his response was like, Robert Redford. And she goes, no, meathead. So then we called him Meathead for the rest of his life.
Oh,
yeah,
man,
the dude from Archie Bunker, you know. Okay, I'm sorry. That made me think of that.
There's nothing like somebody saying something like, I know you from somewhere. And then you're like, well, I do comedy. And they're like, nah, that ain't it.
No, right. All right. What's your give me your dad's story, brother.
Well, my dad used to videotape everything. I got home videos for days that I could watch. I mean, so many. And my dad also had a pool. And one day we were out there vacuuming the pool, right? Mm-hmm. I almost thought of going for some kind of making up some similar story to yours, but then I changed my mind. But he's vacuuming the pool, and there's a big, he's got, you know, he lives on a farm. There's 2 big ponds behind his house. And a lot of times we would get little frogs and stuff. And there is a giant bullfrog that has gotten in the pool, and you can see it swimming around. And it's going to die in no time because the chlorine, all that's going to kill it. So my dad's vacuuming, and what he tries to do is he wants to get the vacuum on the frog and just put enough suction on it to keep it on the hole, the frog, and then pull it out.
Yeah, he's just going to pick it up.
Yeah, but he sucks it up. And then all the way, a pool cleaning hose is like a real elastic like hose. So all the way up, you can see the hose get fatter as the frog's coming up. And then he gets it up and then dumps it out, and the frog is dead, and its side has been busted, and it kills the frog, right? So it was sad. We all hated that it happened. But my dad used to film me on videotape, and he would film me up, because my parents are divorced. So he would just get kind of a video journal of me coming up. Mm-hmm. So we're standing there, and he would ask me about the weekend and what's going on. And we start talking about the frog, right? That just happened that weekend. And he's talking, and I didn't know about this video. I'm just watching it. And he's talking to me, and we start talking about the frog. And I go through that whole thing that I just went through with you, talking about how you could see it coming up the hole. And then he goes, and then it just hopped away. And I know that the frog died. You even see my face on the video be like,
why is Dad lying right now?
Yeah, I was like, You could hear, I had such a high-pitched voice as a kid. I was like, But it's like, I still don't understand why he's lying about it.
Well, yeah.
Like no one.
I don't understand unnecessary lying.
In 1989, this wasn't going on social media.
Right.
Nobody saw it but me.
Did you ever, have you talked to him since then? Like, Dad, all right, why did you feel the need to lie about was he trying to be funny? You think it was just?
Maybe.
Yeah.
But I feel like at this point, my dad would be like, no, it hopped away.
That's great. This is a great story, Dusty. I like the frog coming through the hose. It looks like a cartoon. Like you can see it coming through the hose.
Like that.
Wow.
Can I tell one more thing?
Please.
All right. This is a bit of a two-part thing. It's not a long two-part thing, but I have two older sisters, and we have a different dad, same mom, different dad. I have a younger sister. We have the same dad, different mom. Mm-hmm. My younger sister, not related to my older sisters.
Okay.
And so my older sisters, when my mom was married to my dad, they were around, and they're about 10 years older than me. So I was probably 2, and they were 12, roughly. And one day and my dad has this bush, and it has these cattails that grow out of it. You know those bushes that are like just sawbriars? I mean, they'll just cut you up.
Yeah.
But then it has these long cattail-looking things coming out.
Okay.
Anyway, he'd pulled a couple of those out and stuck them in this urn and put it in the living room just as kind of a decoration.
Okay.
So one day I'm sitting in there, and he says that he looks in the living room, and I'm sitting in the middle of the floor pointing, going, hot, hot. And he comes in there, and the curtains are on fire, the TV's on fire, the wood paneling is on fire.
Oh, my.
And he said what I did was I tipped that urn over, lit those things on fire, and then set it back up, and then it caught everything on fire. He got it out, but he just loved to tell that story about how I caught the corner of the house on fire.
Yeah.
So probably 20 years later, I'm telling this story to my sister. I'm telling her about setting the corner of the house on fire, and she just starts laughing. And she said, I did that. She said, I set those things on fire, and I blamed it on you because I knew you wouldn't get in trouble.
Oh, okay.
So for 20 years, my sister held on to this secret.
Yeah. So wait, she fessed up how long ago? 20 years? No, like just recently?
Yeah, just recently. I think I even told my dad that, and I don't think he liked it. Like even that long ago, I don't think he cared for that.
Well, in her defense, that's a smart move at that age. Blame it on something that's defenseless. You can't get mad at it. That's a good move. I wouldn't be mad at her for that.
No, I'm not. But I think my dad either didn't appreciate that he had told this story for so long and it wasn't true, or he just was mad that she set it on fire.
I go back in time, in my brain of all the different stories I've heard my dad tell and other people tell about my dad, and I wonder sometimes, are these long tales, are they getting twisted and turned around, and how much is true? My dad had a best friend named Skeeter, and they played in a band together called the Cobras. And my dad was a drummer, and Skeeter was a guitarist or something. But they were best friends. And it's weird when you meet your dad's best friend. It's not weird, but it's cool just knowing them over time, as a child all the way into my adulthood. Because Skeeter has told me the same story about my dad I don't know how many times. And now it's gotten to the point where, I think he knows it's like it's a thing, and he has to tell me again, even though I already know. He goes, hey, ask your dad about this. I'm like, and I have to, and I ask him, my dad will always go like, that never happened. It's not even true. I don't know why he says this. And I don't know who to believe. I don't know if Skeeter's telling me the truth or my dad's telling me the truth. But apparently when they were in grade school, the teacher asked my dad to get up and spell a word or something. And he was so embarrassed that he didn't know how to spell that he got up out of his chair and he went to the window and he jumped out of the window. And it was on the third floor, and he landed in a coal pile, and he got up and walked home. I don't know if this is true. My dad has said many times, that wasn't me, that was another guy. And he's also said many times that never happened. So I'm starting to err on the side of Skeeter telling the truth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because if your dad's telling you that it didn't happen and he's got two different stories,
right.
Like that didn't happen, it was another guy.
right. Yeah. Which lie is it? Yeah.
I mean, my dad will do a little bit of a thing like Ricky Bobby in Talladega Nights, where it's like, told you something that you lived your whole life by, and then go, oh no. Like he told me one time, he said, when you go to the gas pump, like if the gas can or the gas cap on your car is not attached, he said, what you do is you put it on top of the gas pump so that way, if you forget to put it back on, you can remember that you left it at the gas station and you turn around and go get it.
Huh.
So I've been doing this every time I had a car that didn't have it attached. I've been doing this my whole life. One day we stopped to get gas together. I had a car where it wasn't attached. And he takes it off and puts it on top of the car. And I remind him of what he told me years ago. And he goes, oh, hell, you'll be so far down the road, you won't even want to go back and get it.
You're like, Dad, this is what you told me to do.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Dusty, we could talk about dads all day. Let's do this again, though.
Yeah, this is great. I love it. Now that I got my setup worked out, the last time I called in, I had a weird setup and I couldn't get it figured out. Now I got things worked out.
And I was figuring it out over here too. We had people in here. I'm like, if it's Dusty, it just needs to be me and you. So
yeah. Well, this is great. I appreciate it.
We'll do this again. Let's talk more dad stuff, dude.
I love it.
Because I feel like I could keep doing this for another hour, but I think Alan's ready to pull the plug.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, thanks, John. Great to see you.
Thanks, Dusty. Take it easy, buddy.
We're having a good time.
All right. Thank you, Dusty Slade. Love that guy. That dude's star is rising. So if you want to learn more about Dusty Slade, tell him I sent you. Go to dustyslade.com. Follow him on all the social medias, and you can thank me later. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more country-ish after this. Hey, everybody. John Reap here. Just want to say thank you for listening or watching this podcast. We love it when you do that. Also, I want you to go cruising with me. That's right. Not in a car, in a ship. That's right. It's the Reaps Peeps Comedy Cruise. Check it out. If you go to johnreap.com, click on the Reaps Peeps Cruise. All the information you need is right there. It's in 2021. You got plenty of time. November the 6th through the 11th. We're going to a private beach in Haiti. We're going to Nassau. I'm doing stand-up. We're doing a podcast, and we're doing karaoke. 5 nights. It's going to be a blast. Get on the boat with me, John Reap, and the Reaps Peeps Cruise. If you love this podcast and you love wearing shirts, well, we got something for you. If you go to countryishpodcast.com, click on merchandise, it'll take you to my store, and we have an awesome t-shirt for you. It's a Country-ish Podcast t-shirt. Look at it. Isn't it beautiful? Also, it's got the website on there. It's a soft tee. Very soft, feels good on your skin, and it helps us keep the lights on here at the studio. So check out countryishpodcast.com. Click on merchandise. Get yourself a t-shirt, and know that I love you. And we're back. All right, my next segment is another interview. This guy's iconic. He's a legend. Can't believe that we actually got him to zoom in on the show. I grew up listening to this dude on MTV. I'm talking about the band Stryper, and I'm talking about the lead guitarist and singer Michael Sweet. Let's check it out.
Take another look and tell me that.
I just want to thank you real quick for taking the time to do this. I do a little podcast. This is what we're on. It's fun. I have a good time doing it. And a buddy of mine just recently gave me this shirt. Does this look familiar?
It looks very familiar.
Yeah, it looks good on me. I like this shirt. It's a very soft tee. I'm a fan. First of all, I'm a fan. And I have to tell you this quick story.
Sure.
It's I think it's how this whole thing started, right? I mean, recently. So back in the day, I'm 48 years old. So I was probably 18 or 17 when you guys were hitting the MTV Top 10 countdown type thing. With Free and To Hell with the Devil. Honestly, I loved all that stuff. But I remember how I got introduced to you was through my dad. One day, my dad went out to start my car to move it. It was blocking him. I had a 1982 Camaro, and I even had this mullet back then. I was very, rock and roll kind of a dude. And
Nice.
he went to crank the car, and he heard Bullet Boys singing "Smooth Up in Ya."
Oh man.
And he came in the house with that tape, going like, "Son, smooth up in ya. Okay, I know what this means. All right, I'm getting rid of this." And then the next day, he replaced it with Stryper, "To Hell with the Devil." And at first, I was mad at him, and then I started listening to it like, these guys rock.
So your dad made you a fan.
Yeah. He opened the door for me, and that's how it started. Like, I want to say that was 88, 89.
Wow. Yeah, man, that's crazy. It's, back in the day, Stryper, we had the sound and the look of other bands from our genre, but we had a completely different message, as you know.
Right.
And, it's interesting. I always find it interesting. There's a guy that did a reaction video to our song, Blood from Above, our newest song. And he's basically an atheist. He doesn't believe in God. And he's a huge Stryper fan. And he goes on to talk about how, he doesn't care about the lyrics. And he just loves the music. And it's interesting because there are a lot of people out there who do care about the lyrics. They won't listen to us because of the lyrics.
Okay.
And I always find that interesting because those same people will go and listen to Slayer and not have a problem with the lyrics.
Right.
Which are about, blatantly about, the devil and
right.
and evil and pentagrams and all this kind of stuff. So I always found that interesting, how that is okay, but it's not okay for a band like Stryper to sing about God. I always thought that's such a double standard, and it's very interesting to me.
Well, what I love is like you guys are just as good, if not better, than those other bands that have a different message than you musically. Any other band will tell you like these guys are like really, really good. And at the time, to me, I'm not a guy who was hanging on the word. When I was 17, 18, I wasn't hanging on every word. I just liked how it sounded. But over time, you're like, oh, listen to this message. This is really good. And I was born and raised Southern Baptist. I went to church twice on Sundays and a Wednesday night supper. So it was all in my wheelhouse at the time.
Well, I'm glad, man. I'm glad to hear it. And, Stryper's always been a band that has worked really hard at what we do. Not that other bands don't. I'm just saying we work even harder. And I almost think that's because of who we are and what we stand for. We almost feel the need to have to work harder. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's because subconsciously we feel like we've got something to prove or not. I don't think so. But we work extra hard to make incredible music and record incredible albums, and everything is done with excellence, or we at least try to. And that's from our stage shows to rehearsals. If other bands rehearse for 4 days, we rehearse for 8 days.
Wow.
We always go the extra mile to make things as good and as great as they can be.
How long did it take Stryper to get to that MTV success back in the day? Because when I first noticed you guys, you already seemed like a polished, ready to go rock and roll band like any of them. You know, like I'm sure that took many years.
Oh yeah, yeah. It took many years. I mean, not a lot of people know this, but our parents are songwriters, singers, songwriters. They were out performing in clubs and having people babysit us when we were 2, 3, 4, 5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So we grew up in a musical family. Music is really all that I've ever known. I've never really thought about doing anything else other than music. So because of that, we worked hard on music our entire lives. I started playing guitar when I was 5 years old. I started singing when I was 11, 12. And I was out playing clubs, Whiskey, Gazzari's, the Troubadour, when I was 15 and 16 years old.
Wow.
And we signed a deal when I was 20, and our first album came out when I was almost 21, Yellow and Block Attack.
Mm-hmm.
And, it felt like an eternity. It felt like we had been working for so long to make that happen, but it also felt like it was overnight.
Right.
When that album came out, and then Soldiers came out, and then Went to Hell came out, it just exploded, and it seemed like almost an overnight success, but it really wasn't. It was years in the making.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's awesome. Which I was going to ask you that. You said you were playing guitar at like 5 years old. I was going to ask you what came first for you, the music or the message?
Well, the music came first, for sure. When I was 2 and 3 years old, I would sit on a couch, a little kid, and my parents were always playing music. And that ranged from Elvis Presley to Conway Twitty.
Oh, yeah.
To believe it or not, Creedence Clearwater. And my dad even listened to Black Sabbath on occasion. So he listened to everything. And whenever he would play music on the turntable, I would start rocking back and forth in the chair and singing along, making up words and stuff. So the music started at a very young age.
Yeah.
And it was just in me, and it's part of me. Even to this day, when any kind of music starts, I can't sit still.
Yeah.
I'm bopping my head. And then once we became Christians, we started really thinking about the message and the lyrical content.
Yeah.
And that became just as important, if not even more important, than the music.
How much longer was that? You said 5 years old, you're rocking out, and I guess your brother's doing the same thing as you at the same time. Did you guys? Was it one thing that happened in your life where you're like, okay, I'm going this route now?
Well, you know what it was. Whenever we had family get-togethers, we used to call them family reunions. We'd get together all the time, and sometimes there'd be maybe 10 of us. Sometimes there'd be 50, 60, 70, and even like a yearly reunion where there'd be over 100 people. Every time there was a family get together, there was a musical performance.
Okay.
Because everyone played. My grandmother Nana would go, "Hey, let me get my guitar," and she'd break out the guitar and start singing, and that was it.
Yeah.
And Rob was banging on pots and pans when he was a little kid, and they eventually got him a drum set. And I was playing guitar when I was 5. My dad started teaching me, and we all played. We all loved to play.
Yeah.
My Nana would pay me a quarter to sing Ray Price songs, and I was making money when I was 7, 8 years old for the family. It was funny.
And now that was in Massachusetts, or that's where you grew up?
No, I didn't grow up in Massachusetts. I grew up in California.
Oh, that's Whittier. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was born in Whittier, and then we moved a lot, and we were in Pasadena and Whittier and a number of other places. And then we moved to Oklahoma for like a year. My mom's from Oklahoma.
Okay.
And my dad worked for the railroad, so he was relocated there. And then we moved back because that didn't work out. And back to California. We were in La Mirada and Fullerton. And then I moved to Massachusetts in 1995.
Okay. Yeah.
Been here ever since.
Yeah. I've been up there a couple of times. It's nice in the fall up there, definitely.
It's gorgeous in the springtime and the fall. It's gorgeous. Summer's not too bad. Winters can be pretty bad.
Yeah. So I got this T-shirt. We do a segment on this podcast called Goodwill Hunting. And
Nice.
yeah, we go to a Goodwill. A buddy of mine his last name was Hunt. And we go to a Goodwill and we buy each other gifts, and we exchange them on the show. And he knew that I loved Stryper back in the day. And he found this shirt and he gave it to me. And then we talked about it on the show. And I think somebody in your camp was like, "Oh my God, they're talking about my baby," or something like that. And I think that's how this whole thing started.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And by the way, I love that movie, Good Will Hunting.
Yeah.
I love that scene where he tells the guy,
Apples?
he basically outsmarts the guy in the bar. Yeah.
He walks outside and goes, "You like apples?" And he puts her phone number up on and says, "How about these apples?"
Yeah. I love that.
That's classic.
That's a scene that every guy in the world appreciates, because we've all probably been there and done that, right?
Oh yeah. Or at least we wanted to.
True.
So I'm looking at the all your albums. It seems has the same Isaiah 53:5 on it, right? And
Yes.
I'm guessing that's where the name Stryper originated.
Well, believe it or not, it's the other way around. The name came first,
Okay.
and if you go back even further, what came before the name was the stripes, the yellow and black. So we were yellow and black when we were a band called Rock's Regime.
Okay.
When my brother started painting this kid, he liked the Eddie Van Halen Bumblebee guitar, and he liked that whole look.
Yeah.
So he started painting his drums, then the guitars, we started making clothes, and everything became yellow and black.
Okay.
And that's when we were a trio. I was the only guitar player, and Eric Johnson was bass player, my brother Rob, drummer. And we eventually morphed into Stryper. And then when we became Stryper, because of the stripes, we found that Bible scripture that became part of the name and has always been there with us from the very beginning, from every logo.
Well, it makes sense. Yeah. Well, I didn't know that. I'm glad I asked that question. I told right
and
before.
If you look up that scripture in some translations, it says, "By His stripes we are healed."
Right. It says it right here. I'm looking right at it. It says, "He was wounded for our transgressions. He was bruised for our iniquities. I don't know that word. The chastisement of our peace was upon him. And with his stripes, we are healed." I love it.
There it is. And that's what our stripes instantly became and were recognized for. And they signified what Christ went through on the cross. And all of a sudden they took on meaning and they became very powerful. It's like, okay, in the beginning, I didn't like the stripes, but then once we had that scripture to go along with it, it's like I fell in love with the stripes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I like it too. I'm also liking this new thing you're working on. All I've seen so far is the artwork, and the artwork looks pretty cool. I've heard a little bit of the song. I don't even know if it's out yet. Even the Devil Believes.
That song itself is not out yet. Just a little piece.
Right. I was just listening to it.
I posted a video.
Okay.
Yep. And that's more of a straight ahead rocker, mid tempo, what people would expect of Stryper. Now, it's a cool song, very powerful song. But the first song we released was a song called Blood from Above. And that's just straight up metal, man.
Okay.
High energy, get in your car and drive 100 miles an hour metal, straight up.
So that leads me to another question. So what was it, your love of music, right? And then your love of Christ, and then somewhere metal came along. What was it that made you fall in love with the metal part of music?
Well, I mean, as we got older, I grew up on Elvis Presley, like I said, and then, I love the Beatles, started getting into Creedence, getting a little edgier. Then I started getting into Bad Company, Foghat. And then eventually I started getting into bands like Deep Purple, started getting heavier.
Okay.
And then that went in the direction of bands like Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, Van Halen. And that's when I really became a true classic metal guy.
Yeah.
And I just love that sound. I love the guitar sound, and the power of the music, and the high range vocal style. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, you know how your life changes, your tastes change over the years. I went through a little metal phase for a while. Stryper was one of them, and then of course it was Metallica, and then like it kind of went away for me. Like I turned into like R&B and rap, and then like a hip, like boy band stuff. And
Yeah, man.
but now it's coming back because I started lifting weights again because of the COVID and the Corona. I can't go anywhere, and my brother is a huge CrossFit guy. He made a gym in his garage, and now I'm in his gym, and metal's back for me anyway. You know,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Metal's the best music to work out to.
It
right?
is. It is.
It really is, because it gets you pumping, your blood flowing, your mind pumping, and you're like, yeah. It really motivates you. But you know, I'm a guy too. I got to admit, I love all music.
Yeah.
I don't just listen to metal. I mean, when my kids were listening to Backstreet Boys, they became one of my favorite bands.
Yeah.
You know, I love boy bands. I love Bruno Mars. I love John Legend. I love Pink, Lady Gaga. I mean, I listen to everything. I love country. I grew up on country. I mean, I really respect, if it's a good song and a great talent, I'm there.
That's always been my response to that question. When people say, what's your favorite kind of music? I tell them there's only two kinds of music, good and bad. I just happen to like the good. And there's good in all forms, and there's bad in all forms.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. No question about it. And I agree with you. And I'm a respecter of all music. I love and appreciate all music, literally. But I do lean a little more towards, most of the time, the metal thing. When I play music, I like to turn up the amp, you know, and feel it, crank it.
Of course. That's what metal is. And it also depends on your mood. I mean, I can like listen to like 4 different types of music in one day. You know, maybe I'll wake up to something easy, and then by the end of the day, I'm rocking out. But
absolutely.
I'd like to talk a little bit about your book here, honestly. My Life in Stryper Revealed. What made you want to write the book?
Well, you know, when I started thinking about writing that book a few years back, I just felt like it was a good time to do so based on what I had experienced in life. And the most powerful thing that I felt that I could help others through was loss. Mm-hmm. You know, I lost my wife to cancer, and I think everyone knows that. And having gone through that, I felt like maybe I can help some people. Yeah. You know, and that's what inspired me to write the book. Mm-hmm. It never was intended to be a tell-all or throw people under the bus kind of book, you know?
Right.
That's not who I am. I'm really not built that way. But at the same time, I was telling these stories, and by telling a lot of these stories, I had to involve people that were there.
Oh, sure.
So it might come across sometimes like I'm throwing people under the bus, but I'm really not. Yeah. I'm just telling them the story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and if the title of the book is Honestly, I mean, you got to tell the story. I mean, if that's what you're doing, you know. And that must have been really, really, really tough time for you. I mean, I haven't really had experience any kind of tough loss like that. Except I was living in Los Angeles for 18 years. I'm an actor, comedian. I've had some success here and there. But I moved back to I'm in Hickory, North Carolina right now. And I moved back because, it's not bad here.
I love North Carolina.
Yeah. I mean, I like it too. You get all 4 seasons pretty good, you know, and you got the mountains on one side and you got the coast on the other side. Did we lose him, Alan? I see it just says iPhone. There we are.
There you go. There we go.
Yeah, all good. But yeah, it's great here. But I moved back mostly because my dad had a stroke. And so now he's paralyzed on his left side. He's at a skilled nursing facility. We can't go visit him because of COVID. And my poor mother, you know, she's never lived by herself. She's got glaucoma, cataracts, brittle bones. And so I can't even tell people I'm a comedian anymore. I tell them I'm an elder care Uber driver. But it's just fine with me. It really is. I am so much more happier now that I'm out of LA and back in North Carolina than I was the last 5 years, you know, of my life. So,
wow, dude. Well, you know what? It sounds to me like you figured out a way to laugh. Mm-hmm. You know, you're not laughing at the situation, but you're laughing in the situation. And that many times that's what gets us through. Laughter is healing and good for the soul. So, you know, and I kind of did the same thing. I just kept moving. Mm-hmm. When I went through that time just a few days afterwards, I literally booked a tour.
Yeah.
People thought I was crazy.
No, I know keeping busy sometimes is a way of dealing with that stuff. 100%. It makes sense to me.
That's right. That's right. That's what I had to do. And I thank God I did that. And didn't just, as I say, draw the blinds and dry up and go away. I'm so thankful I kept moving, but I've learned a lot through it. And I think we all do when we face times like that, and we got to somehow figure a way out of it and look to the future and know that there's still a plan.
Yeah.
I think God tries to show us things through those times that, are intended to strengthen us and help us.
Yes, 100%. Right before I went on with this interview with you on Facebook, I told my Facebook fans I'm about to talk to you, and I said, any questions? So
they're like, who is that? We don't even know who that guy is.
No, you'll be surprised. I mean, you got come on now, you got a lot of fans. Ricky Box, he goes, best talented lead guitar player that you've ever worked with. And I'd like to talk about Boston in a little bit, but let's get these questions. Who's, according to Michael Sweet, who is the best / talented lead guitar player that you've ever worked with? Not counting yourself.
Okay. Well, I would never put myself on that list or in a list with guys like that. But I would say, and I don't want to upset any of my dear guitar player friends. I've got many of them. They played on my 10 album. But I'm going to have to say all-around guitar player.
Yeah.
A guy by the name of Joel Hoekstra.
Okay.
And Joel is a friend of mine, but he's played in Night Ranger.
Mm-hmm.
He plays in Whitesnake right now.
Oh, wow.
And he also plays for Trans-Siberian Orchestra and Cher.
Wow.
But he's the reason why I'm going to pick Joel is because Joel's not just a shredder, or he's not just the blues guy, or he's not just this. He can do every style like incredibly well. He's a jack of all trades, but he's as amazing as they come.
Wow.
And he's such a nice guy too. I love him as a person.
So he's very versatile.
Oh my gosh, dude. He's the guy. If you're doing a session of 10 different styles of music, call Joe. He'll nail them all.
Oh gosh, now I just went back and looked at it. Now there's like 25 messages up here. And I don't know which one to choose. So let's do this one. How about someone's asking me about an eyeball. I have no idea what the eyeball means.
Yeah, I've told that story many times. I actually tell it in the book. We played in Australia and to a very large crowd back in the 80s, and this guy was headbanging at my feet. And then all of a sudden I noticed he was very upset and pointing. And basically, long story short, I reached down, flicked what was at my foot. I thought it was gum, and it was this guy's eyeball, glass eyeball.
Oh, wow. See, now that's some street cred. Stryper makes you bang your head so hard your eyeballs come out of your head.
Can you imagine that? You imagine that poor guy, his glass eye falls out of his head, and it's at my feet. And he's trying to tell me that's my eye, give me my eye back, and I flicked it out in the crowd, and he was swearing me up and down for the rest of the show.
Oh, that's hilarious. Wow. See, I like that. The closest I've come to anything like that, I did a show in Tampa, Florida, and the next day, the staff in a plastic bag said, "You made someone laugh so hard their dentures fell out." And like they just found dentures on the ground. I'm like, oh, that's street cred.
Wow. Dude, that is street cred. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
James Carr says, OMG, my first concert ever was Stryper. Saw them with Petra way back in the day. Am I saying that right?
That's way back. Way back. We played with Res Band, a number of bands, Christian bands back in the day, but mostly we played with mainstream bands, most of the time.
Yeah. Okay, here's one that says, do you like Slayer? I think you said that you've listened to Slayer before.
I'll tell you what, I respect Slayer musically. I'm obviously not a fan of the lyrics.
Right.
Any band that sings every song and devotes their music and their life to the devil.
Right.
And obviously for years, it inspires people to go out and sing along with, "Hey, let's all go to hell and praise Satan."
Right.
I'm like thinking, wow, okay, that just doesn't seem like something that people should be doing. I don't
Sure.
know. I tend to be on the positive side a little bit more, but I do respect them as musicians. But I always kind of laughed at bands like that. They laugh at us for our lyrics, and I'm laughing at them for their lyrics. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Comical.
Tell me a little bit about working with Boston and how that whole thing came about.
Well, during that time when my wife was sick, Brad Delp, the singer of Boston, committed suicide. And it was really tragic. And I wrote something special about what he meant to me as a singer. I put him in my top 5 list as a singer. And I guess Tom's wife, Kim, read it, reached out to my management and invited me out to perform at what was going to be their last show.
Okay.
That was in 2007.
Right.
So I wound up going out. They were going to have Sammy Hagar, Ann Wilson, Mickey Thomas, all these people, man. And a number of folks dropped out. And I went from singing one song, Higher Power, which was a track not many people know about, to going out and singing Peace of Mind, More Than a Feeling, Rock and Roll Band, all this stuff, in front of this packed out house of Boston fans. And I got to be honest with you, man, I had to change my underwear after that night because I was nervous. I was sweating, man. And after that show,
were you sweating and nervous because you thought the fans of Boston are gonna judge you harshly because you came from Stryper, or because you were just like trying to hit the notes, or what made you so nervous?
All of the above.
Okay.
I came from Stryper. I'm trying to sing Brad Delp songs. There's only one Brad Delp, always will be. Here's this guy. Who is this guy? You know what I mean? It's a tough gig. You can't fill his shoes, but man, I tell you, my underwear were definitely yellow in the front and black in the back, man. After that gig,
there you go.
Interestingly enough, after the show, it went so well. Tom Scholz came up to me in the dressing room and said, "Michael, we love you. The fans love you. We want to continue. We're going to tour next year. We want you to join the band." And that was it. I joined the band.
Nice. Now, you still occasionally do that with those guys, or are you focused mostly on your solo or with Stryper? Or
I was in the band. I toured with them in 2008. We did 56 shows, I believe it was, with Styx opening.
Okay.
And I loved it. And that was during the time when Kyle was sick, and my wife passed in 2009. And then after that, it almost didn't feel like there was a purpose for me to stay there.
Okay.
And I felt like Stryper was starting to do more, and that's my baby. So I decided to leave Boston, believe it or not. I think I'm maybe the first guy to ever leave Boston.
See, another street cred thing, like eyeballs come out and I leave Boston. Boston doesn't leave me.
Exactly. I mean, over the years, if you look at the history of the band, they've had a lot of different folks in and out of the band, and they've always been let go or fired or whatever. But I wound up leaving the band, and I remember hearing from some of the fans, like, "What are you, nuts? You left Boston?"
Right.
And I didn't do it for that purpose. I just did it because I felt called and led to do it.
Right.
So I did.
Very good. Here's a compliment from someone named Randy Cohn. Not a question, but just tell him, "Thank you for me. Stryper helped me get through some crap in high school." As I'm sure it did a lot of people.
Well, man, you know what? When I hear stories like that, it really solidifies the purpose of the band. And, it tells me, all right, we did our job. Because music is cool, but at the end of the day, the music is forgotten. But what's not forgotten are the lives that are touched and changed. That's eternal. Right. That's forever.
Right. On my podcast, I have the people that zoom in from time to time because of my dad. I do a lot of dad jokes in my act. My act is half the crazy stuff my dad has done over the years. And so I have a little tribute. I have a little tribute to him, and I ask people who zoom in if they could share a funny, crazy story about their dad. Anything you could share with us about your dad, maybe how he influenced you or maybe scared you, or any kind of crazy story?
Oh man, yeah, no, my dad was definitely, the most loving dad and supportive dad. Always gave us every garage of every house to use as a rehearsal room. So he'd park his cars out in the elements so we could have the garage.
wow.
So I'll never forget that. But at the same time, you didn't mess with my dad.
Okay.
My dad was one of those guys where if there was a street bully in the neighborhood picking on us or whatever, my dad would go down, pound on the front door, and challenge the dad.
Wow, yeah.
I mean, you didn't mess with my dad. He kind of became known for that. But I'll never forget, my dad's a musician and played bass for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Had a Fender jazz bass and a Fender bassman, and we would rehearse. And so many times, my dad would come home from the railroad. We'd be jamming, and he'd pound on the garage wall. We'd run inside and he'd say, "Turn that damn bass down." And he's a bass player.
Oh, interesting.
It was interesting, but he was always supportive, man, and always there for us and behind us in everything that we did, and still is.
Yeah, that's great. Dads are important. My dad played drums for a little while in a band called the Cobras. It was like a wannabe Beatles thing back in the day. But he played like the old school hand over, like the Beatles style, like this. Not like this, but like this,
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, the old Ringo style.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for your time. I want to plug anything you got coming up, because I know a lot of people aren't touring right now because of this COVID and whatever. Do you have any gigs that are on the horizon?
Well, I tell you what, man, we've got a couple things we're doing coming up. We're going to do a couple of pay-per-views, record a couple pay-per-views.
Okay.
Full in entirety albums. And that's going to be really cool. And then we've got the album coming out September 4th. And we've got some dates on the calendar. We have to postpone them, but they're coming up at the end of this year. So we'll see how that goes.
It looks like.
And then next year, we've got a lot of stuff next year.
Yeah. That's sort of what I was doing too. I haven't canceled anything. I'm letting the venues cancel on me, so it doesn't look like it was my fault. But it looks like you have something coming up September 24th in Charlotte, which is right next to Hickory, where I'm at.
Yeah, we're doing some dates, and I know we're doing M3 Festival, and we've got a few other dates on the calendar that are going to be awesome, man. And I'm just praying and hoping that we don't have some incredible spikes, which we're already seeing, to the point where we start getting shut down again and we can't do it.
Right. Yeah, it looks like it could happen again. Well,
yeah.
Hey, Michael Sweet, thank you so much for taking the time and talking to me. I can't thank you enough. God bless you, brother.
Thanks, brother. God bless you too, man. Thanks for having me, and we'll see you out there. Hopefully come see us at a show near you.
I will. See you, buddy.
Okay, man.
Take another look and tell me that.
All right. Thank you, Michael Sweet. And thank you all for watching this awesome episode of Country-ish. I apologize for it being a little wonky, but I'm telling you, those interviews were awesome. I hope you had a good time. I hope you share this podcast. Rate, review, subscribe, share, all that jazz. We're at countryishpodcast.com. And none of this would be possible if it weren't for supporters like you, and especially our Patreon subscribers, members, supporters. Yeah. If you want to support the podcast, go to countryishpodcast.com. Click on support, and there are many different levels that you can help us out. Keep the lights on here at the studio. And so I got to thank the newest members. I want to thank Cooper Hill. He's a Pewter Pro member. Thank you, Cooper. Adam Soder, Rhinestone Level, thank you. And Eric Sims, Rhinestone Level. Thank you all for being supporters. We'll try and do better next time. And until next time, just know that I love you. And bicycle!
Well, life on the farm is kind of laid back, but I wouldn't know that I'm from a cul-de-sac. Don't chew tobacco and I don't smoke crack. Thank God I'm country-ish. Well, it's simple kind of life, never did me no harm, but I do know a guy with only one arm. Keep your fancy smartphones and your self-parked cars. Thank God I'm country-ish. Well, I got a podcast that'll make you giggle. It ain't number one, it's right in the middle. The town's not big, but it ain't too little. It's time for country-ish. Go on, dude. I'd make a new show every day if I could, but my friends have jobs and they pay pretty good. Record when we can, work when we should. It's time for country-ish. Well, I don't care what your skin looks like, just love everybody and we'll be alright. Listen to the show every Friday night. It's time for country-ish. Well, I got a podcast, it'll make you giggle. It ain't number one, it's right in the middle. My town's not big, but it ain't too little. It's time for country-ish.